Fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. This is a bit of a different review setting than normal. I'm here with Henrik. You've seen him before many times on the channel and the podcast. But today we are at the Swedish Open in Båstad, Sweden. This video is about the new head extremes. We've mainly tested two models, the MP and the Pro. And what is new for this year is Auxetic 2. And what does that mean?
I think it means that they have made it even more muted, more dampened, removed even more vibrations, installed Auxetic in I think 2 parts of the racket, right?
So I'm gonna borrow Head's video here to show you how the Auxetic properties work. They have a short one on their channel, and the Auxetic 2.0 is that it's still in the yoke piece, as you can see here, like it was in Auxetic 1.0, but also in the handle, where there's dampening, definitely more dampening for sure than it was before, and that's a matter of taste for the player, whether you like it or not. I am not sure about the claim they have here that it gives you better feeling and connection to the ball. I would be a bit skeptical about that claim, but obviously I'm no racket scientist.
They have removed vibrations, they have made it more muted.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. Like, so from the first hit, it's very similar to the Auxetic 1 edition, which has less Auxetic tech in it. But overall, I would say that it's definitely more dampened. As a player who prefers feel and connection to the ball, I'm not sure I like this update as much as I'd hoped I would. I think obviously they have a different strategy than Yonex. Yonex, they try to make a completely different mold, sometimes layup in the rackets, while Head, they have a very good mold already, so they want to keep iterating with different layups, and it sometimes works well and it's easy to switch in between them, which is a pro, but sometimes it can be also not so exciting to review in.
Sometimes you want Head to be a little more creative.
Yeah, to dare a bit more, to try something different, right?
Yeah. They are okay. They have new bold paint jobs.
They are very nice. Like, I mean, if we start with the pros, like the good things about these rackets, I like the Cosmetic. I think it's nice, you know. It's not for everyone, because some people want like a darker color, but it's like extreme, you know. So.
Yeah, yeah. And you really see this racket really shines when you pick it up. It looks really good. It makes you want to play with it. It's very inviting. It would be interesting if it was as good to play with as it looks, because the looks is fantastic. It's spot on. It's 10 out of 10. When you see it live, it's fantastic.
Specs, briefly. Unchanged. So I have 4 models for review. I will do the MP Lite and the Team at a later stage. This review deals with the Pro and the MP, which are the rackets that will appeal to most players. But the specs are unchanged. You will see them on the screen, but they are unchanged from the previous generation. The mold is the same, meaning the structure of the racket is the same. What is different is the addition of more Auxetic technology also in the hoop, which does mute vibration, dampen vibration, but also takes away some of the connection to the ball. And that's always a balance where you are. Like, are you on a tennis elbow territory? Maybe this is great. Are you, I want more raw feel territory? Going back, rackets back in the past, they had very raw sensation. This one is definitely going a lot more towards dampening. And it's not for everyone, and not for us, I would say.
No, unfortunately not. We tend to like head rackets in general.
Yeah.
But it's very muted.
Yeah, we struggled with this racket. I think it was one of those tests where we both felt like it was difficult to get a strong connection to the ball. We've tried many different rackets during a period of a week or two, and I've been testing the extremes for quite a while now. And it's just difficult for me to get really a sense of the ball in these rackets. And that would be a pretty big downside. I know other reviewers might feel different, but for me it was a bit too muted this time around. Auxetic 1, better in my opinion in that sense. Like, it's a bit more connected at least.
Yeah. They still have this tighter string pattern from the previous Pro version, and you don't get that much power and spin as you are supposed.
No, it's not so extreme as maybe the word implies, because if you get an arrow, which is the competitor, you feel like you get a lot with the arrow, like a lot of power, a lot of spin. You get some spin with this racket, but you don't get so much free depth. Like, okay, maybe it's more comfortable because you don't feel anything on the arm. The dampening seems to work really well. So comfort-wise, from what we play with, quite good. but sometimes you overdo the dampening where it's like, where in the string bed did you contact the ball, and then you can't really adjust for the next shot.
So for example, if I should use this one in competition, I would lower the tension quite a lot. I would play like maybe with 20 kilos or so. Now I think it's strung around 23 kilos.
It's 22.
Links. I have trouble generating enough pace.
Yep.
So for example, I have more power and spin in the Speed MP, for example.
Yeah, that's an interesting take actually. So if you play them, this is not like a low swing weight racket. Like this Extreme MP I've tested is 330 swing weight strung with Lynx Tour, and it does have some power, but since I can't really connect with the ball, I don't feel like I know exactly how to impact the ball to get that enough control. So that's been a bit tricky, but it's still not the same as, it doesn't give you as much for free as some other spin rackets either, right? So
it's more actually a control racket.
Yeah, it's a more controlled spin racket.
I think it's also pretty string sensitive.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like you said, maybe a lower tension if you want to open up more, especially in the Pro, which is the more controlled version.
Yeah.
And in the MP, I think you need to really dial in the string, right? That's going to be very important. I don't think it needs more weight. I think it's more like you have to dial in so you get a good string setup in these rackets.
The version I have, I think it had a swing weight of 323 strung.
Yeah.
So maybe beef it up a couple of units, maybe 325, 327. But it has, like, if you are a player that wants like a easy racket to swing, with good control and pretty forgiving, then this racket is for you. But maybe if you are like a spin player that really wants spin, then I would say like the Speed MP is actually better.
For some players this will work and will be a fun racket and good to use, either the Pro or the MP. But for us, or myself, speaking for myself, who has been an extreme tour user, it was a little bit of a lukewarm experience. You know, I didn't feel like this is better than the previous Auxetic one.
In case you have elbow issues, or if you're like sensitive in your joints and elbows and shoulder, then this one is fantastic because it's you don't feel a thing in your elbow or arm. It's the Auxetic technology. It really works.
Yep.
So if you have problems with your elbow and your joints, then the Extreme MP and the Extreme Pro is fantastic rackets. They are really taking care of your body, so to say.
Yeah, that's a benefit, of course. So if you look at the pros and cons, I would say the benefit is good dampening. The racket is well dampened and relatively easy to use. Like not the easiest racket on the market, but relatively easy to get spin and some depth. More control than many spin rackets on the market. Yeah. These are the pros. I would say cons would be that it's too dampened, like a bit too muted to actually have that strong connection to the ball that many advanced players like, you know, and many players overall like. And maybe not different enough. I would say that's a downside for me. That it's like I wish there would be a bit more difference, because now over and over in the head lineup of rackets, which are all many good rackets, like it's a good lineup of rackets, it's still the difference between the generations are too small in the latest years, and that makes it, for at least for reviewers, a bit less fun than other brands. I would say.
Yeah. I mean, for example, when Yonex released their spin version, the V-Core, they are like making a new mold, completely new mold,
completely different. Yeah. And I didn't like that either. I didn't like that racket so much. I thought the one was better, but I enjoyed that it was so different that I could give my personal take, and then someone else will have a different experience. But for me, it was like different enough, you know.
Maybe with the new string, maybe it will play better. If you have like a 120 string in 19 kilos, maybe it would open it up, giving more spin, more. But for both me and you, it was not for our game. We didn't feel the ball enough, actually. And it needs some tweaks to work for us at least.
Yep, 100%. So summarizing the Head Extreme, MP Light and Team, the more powerful, lighter models coming later on. MP and Pro, not as exciting to review as we had hoped. Better design, better cosmetic than the Avocado, more dampening. Whether you like dampening, that's a good thing. If you don't like dampening, it's a bad thing. So that's where you have to make up your mind. If you like the Extreme Tour or the Extreme MP from the previous generation, but you felt that they were a bit firm on the arm, maybe this one will help you a bit more with comfort. But for us who have no real arm issues at the moment, it felt like it was a bit too much dampening, so you couldn't really quite feel the ball. That's really the review, in my opinion. Have a nice day now, and don't
forget to play some tennis.